Welcome to the world's #1 fitness business podcast for health club owners, gym managers, and fitness entrepreneurs. As always, this will be a great show as we have another expert to help your fitness business and your career. We'd like to thank our premier sponsor, Active Management, for supporting us, and we highly recommend becoming a member of Active Management to strengthen your business in 2016. There are loads of resources members receive, so join the Active Tribe today at www.activemgmt.com.au. Now that's enough from me. Let's welcome the show's amazing host, Chantal. What's on this week's show?
Thanks, Harper. Hi, everyone. Welcome along to this week's show. As you know, last week was the best of the girls, so it's only fair that this week we feature the best of the boys. I've listened back to about the last 20 shows and chosen 4 amazing guests for you this week. We start off with show 42, when Mike Arce from Loud Rumour chatted to us about Facebook advertising. He helps us with some common definitions, where to start, people to follow, and some top tips for advertising on Facebook. From show 48, we have JT from Active Management talking about what brands consumers are supporting and how brands are turning the tables on consumers. Up next is Adrian Antigua from Gainesville Health and Fitness, who talks about how they sell a paid small group training class to existing members and how long it takes to make an impact when you're introducing a small group training class into a club. And last but certainly not least is Jeb Blount. Jeb appeared in both shows 51 and 52. And in this excerpt, he shares the 5 most important questions asked in sales and his top 3 tips for selling services. Before we get started on this week's show, don't forget that during June and July, we have a very special birthday present for all of you from our wonderful friends at Active Management. If you haven't already claimed your gift, make sure you stay tuned right to the end of the show to hear what you need to do. One last thing, each month we like to award our most downloaded shows for the past month, and I like to keep you up to date with milestone downloads that our guests have reached. But as you know, I am away on holidays. So this month you can find all of our award winners for June listed in the notes in any of our July shows. You can jump online and check them out. As mentioned, this week we start off the show with Mike Arce from Loud Rumour. Mike first appeared on show 42, and we dive into this interview where Mike is giving us some definitions around Facebook. I started off by asking him, is boosting a post considered as Facebook advertising?
I wouldn't consider it Facebook advertising, but technically it is because you're investing money to get something seen by a target audience on Facebook. I rarely use it though. I'd rather use that budget for something more productive.
Can you give us an example of what that might be?
Yeah, so using that budget in an ad campaign like the one we've been talking about to get offers in front of that target audience is good. What boosting can really be good for is actually getting content. So let's say you wrote a blog, and let's say it's how to choose the right fitness studio for your body type. And now you boosted that in front of women within 5 miles of your studio. Now what you can do is everyone that clicks on that blog, you know that they're interested in doing some sort of a workout. They just want to find out what's right for them. So now that blog will have a pixel on it, meaning now I can track you. And so now anybody that's clicked on that blog, I can assume that they're interested in finding a type of fitness that's perfect for them. They're the ones that I'm going to spend money and show my ads to in a marketing campaign.
So Mike, would you say that that is an example of a custom audience?
Yes, that's exactly what that is. So you can create different custom audiences that you want to advertise to. Basically, a custom audience is something you create for a particular campaign. So people that have clicked on this page, for example, or women in Scottsdale between 35 and 55 is another example.
And explain to us the importance of that.
Well, you want to show ads to people that are more relevant to them. So let's say women in the audience that are between 40 and 55, they're going to see a much different ad than women that are between 20 and 30. So you take my mother, who's 56 years old. She's in okay shape. She's not in great shape, but she doesn't want to see an ad of a 20-year-old girl in like Lululemons and a tube top that looks like she's in amazing shape. Because the last thing my mom wants to do is be look to the left and look to the right in class and see like two girls just doing amazing, going up and down real quick, and she could barely get down there. It's very intimidating for her. So we want to show her ads where there's more women her age working out. And then for the women that are 20 or 30, we show them ads of women that are more their age, as they know that they want to look like that.
Mike, there's a lot of talk around at the moment in the last couple of months about lookalike audiences. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, so you can, once you have a custom audience like what we just talked about, you can say, hey, here are some people that are in that audience, but I also want to create an audience that looks a lot like that. One thing we do that's very successful, we take an email list that we found great results from, maybe our current list, but we want to expand that list. So we would basically upload that email list to Facebook, and we can advertise directly to them. And we can also create a lookalike audience. So everybody that shares the same interests, demographics, all that stuff, it really helps expand that quickly.
Okay, so now we've got a bit more of an idea on what our options are. Where is the best place to get started when it comes to Facebook advertising?
First, just starting out with one campaign, one offer, I would say a budget of $500 for a 2 to 3 week campaign would be a good way to kick it off. And do your best offer. Whatever you've seen works for you in the past or has worked well for you in the past, run an offer like that. Giving something away for free generally works better than charging. So if you can do something like that, that would be really good. But yeah, just starting out a campaign. And if you want to educate yourself, there's a lot of really great content out there. We have some good stuff on our website, on our blog, and Digital Marketers are a really great resource as well.
Yeah, I must admit, before we caught up today, I spent some time on your website and you have some really awesome content on there. So I really encourage people to jump on and take a look. And we'll put that URL in the show notes for today. Are there any particular people out there or influencers that you think are worth following?
Yes. So Lead Pages is really great for online marketing and designing landing pages for campaigns. So I really like following them. Digital marketer Ryan Dice. He's fantastic. Unbounce is really good as well, unbounce.com. And then we are putting out a lot of content, and particularly for fitness and Facebook recently, and that's really good as well.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Lead Pages because we actually had Sean Bester from Lead Pages on 2 of our shows at the beginning of this year, and he had some fantastic advice for our tribe in regards to setting up their lead pages and stuff like that. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about that just afterwards. But just really importantly, I did mention your website just before. If someone does want to reach out to you about consulting or your Facebook advertising services, your fitness product, what is the best way? Is it for them to jump onto the website?
They can. And if you like, I'll even give you, Chantel, my personal email since you're so awesome. So it's just, cool. It's just mike@loudrumor.com. And my team's really great at, handling the client flow, and I'm pretty responsive through email. So if they email me at mike@loudrumor.com, I can usually respond within a day or so.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for that, Mike. And once again, we'll pop that in the show notes as well. So as I mentioned, we had Sean Bester from Lead Pages chat with the tribe on shows 35 and 36. So you've already mentioned Lead Pages. What is it about Lead Pages and online marketing that you like?
Lead Pages is really great for online marketing and designing landing pages for campaigns quickly. So if you don't have design skills, even if you do, it's just so quick. We use them for a lot of cases, and we have in-house designers. And so a lot of times we just build out a lead page because it's really about the offer. And we also do content collaboration with them as well. So we've written for them. They've written for us. They're a really great company, huge part of our marketing process. I think I recommend them to anybody running Facebook ads.
One of the things that I spoke to Sean about actually was how to get people into a sales funnel. Do you have any tips or strategies to have them move through the funnel and then to become a member?
Yeah, I like integrating Lead Pages with something like MailChimp or Infusionsoft so that whenever somebody fills out a form, they enter a funnel in your CRM. That means they also go to a thank you page with an additional bonus offer. And through that MailChimp or Infusionsoft account, they get an automated confirmation email and emails after that reminding them to visit the fitness studio. You should also follow up, obviously, call the lead no later than 15 minutes after they made contact. But definitely using automation like Infusionsoft or MailChimp is a great recommendation.
Any thoughts on how many times you should actually follow up with a lead?
Through all the sales training I've had over the last 15 years, you should reach out at least 8 to 12 times before you give up. Most sales actually are made within the 5th to 8th touch. So a lot of people just can't get over the feeling of, I think, like I'm bothering them. Mm-hmm. You're not bothering them. They reached out to you. They gave you their contact information for this stuff. And B2C sales is very different. It's not like a B2B business where we're really good and we have calendars and we follow up. B2C, they forget. Their email inboxes have 4,000 emails in it. Their voicemail box fills up. So they forget.
Mike, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Robbie Coleman-Baxter. She's the author of The Membership Economy, and we had her on the show back in show 21, so a little while ago now. One of the things that she talked about is having, when it comes to sales, having less of a sales funnel and having more of a sales chute. So perhaps attracting less leads, but they're more qualified. Do you have any thoughts around that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good strategy, but I also think it comes down to the cost per customer. So you want to focus on more qualified leads, of course, definitely, but you have to be good at measuring everything. If one strategy attracts less leads that are more qualified and another gets tons of leads that are maybe lower quality, but the cost per customer overall is still lower, then that's a better strategy. So you really need to measure.
And what's the best way for us to go about measuring that?
So you can say, okay, I've signed up. Let's say I spent $1,000 in marketing this way, and then I spent $1,000 on marketing that way. So this one, I got 1,000 leads. Well, that's great. That's $1 a lead. This one, I only got 100 leads. Well, that's a lot more, right? But we can say, well, yeah, I may have closed 20% versus the other place I only closed 5%. At the end of the day, we say, this is how many customers signed up for that $1,000 marketing spend. And so if at the end of the day, I signed up 10 customers with one and I only signed up 8 with the other, I still spent $1,000 on both. I don't care how many leads it got me. I care about how many customers I ended up getting.
So it's absolutely essential that we're all measuring every dollar that we spend out there.
Yes, the cost per customer is something that a lot of people don't measure, and I think that's the most important number to measure.
Mike, to finish off today, can you give us your top tips on where to start with our online advertising?
So if you haven't already, start with getting a Facebook ads account. That's also where you'll do your Instagram advertising, since it's all under one umbrella now. And then invest in educating yourself. Learn, read blogs, understand the process a little bit. Invest a little budget into your first ad to see what is or what isn't working. And then invest even more once you see what really works. Just measure how much you're spending to get customers through your door and then just scale.
Next up, we have JT from Active Management back in show 48. And in this show, he's talking about what brands consumers are supporting and how brands are now turning the tables on consumers. I asked JT if he has any hit trends to share with us.
What about this one? Consumers have tended to support brands that have always been kind to the environment. Now the consumer wants to support brands that are kind to their staff.
Ooh, that's interesting. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The consumer's now saying, I'll shop with you, I'll spend my money with you, or in the FBP tribe instance, I'll be a member with you if I know, I understand, and I approve of how you look after your staff. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we look over the past 12 months, big companies like Nestle and Volkswagen have not been real popular with the community nor with their staff. If you look as an organisation, FIFA, the world soccer body, I think they've probably got the worst PR at the moment going on in the world.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So the consumer is simply not supporting those brands. On the flip side, we've got that, the clothing brand Uniqlo?
Yeah.
UNIKLO?
Yeah.
It's a red logo with white writing. Mm-hmm. They offer a 4-day work week to help all their staff with family commitments. So the theory is that Saturday and Sunday they spend with their families, but on Friday or the Monday or another day during the week, they do all their commitments for their family.
Wow, that's
amazing.
I reckon
that, it's really cool. And then the other really good example, and I found this one blew me out of the water, REI, which is a US adventure sports supplier. So they sell like canoeing, rock climbing, hiking, camping, bike riding, et cetera, equipment.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, they famously closed on Black Friday. And Black Friday is world known to be the number one retail sales day on the calendar in the US. And these guys closed. Why? For their staff to do what they enjoy, get outdoors.
Oh, man, that is so cool.
Yeah, well, they went one step further, which I think adds to their brand recognition. And they told everyone with a letter, in a letter addressed, in fact, to its 5.5 million members, which makes them the largest consumer co-op in the US, they announced plans. Here's what the letter said. Announced plans to close its door on Black Friday, November 27, to all 143 of its retail locations, headquarters, and 2 distribution centres. Instead of reporting to work, the co-op is paying its 12,000 employees so they can do what they love most, be outside. Starting today, the co-op is inviting the nation to join in by choosing to #opt outside to reconnect with family and friends this Thanksgiving holiday.
I absolutely love that.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
That's awesome. So basically what you're saying is make meaningful, positive changes to your internal culture and then tell the world about it.
Yeah, that's it. It was interesting when I was talking about this at Arce, I asked how many people had heard about it, and about half the room had said yes, they heard about it. They were all the Americans, the other half were internationals. And I said, how did you hear about it? She said, and people said, oh, it made the news.
I made the news.
Yeah, it made the news.
There you go.
So, we're talking about getting
advertising, that is.
No, you're absolutely right. So I think it's a really cool example of the business looking after their staff, telling the world, and then we see this impact because it's so unusual that the media pick up on it as a story.
Very cool.
Now, by the way, there's also an undercurrent of two-way transparency as brands are starting to turn the tables on their consumers. We like this one too, by the way, Chantel.
Talk about this one.
This is where brands are also rating their consumer or their customers. So for years, we've seen sites like Yelp, TripAdvisor, and many more allow the consumer to rate their experience with the brand. Mm-hmm. Now, brands like Airbnb allow the host to rate their guest. I like it. In fact, in the UK, Pret it's like a cafe or a bakery store. They have a freebie budget where they can give free coffee to a polite customer.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And in November last year, the Future Foundation did a study and they found that 46% of consumers would be happy to be rated by a company they are using. Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's funny you say that because just the other day, a friend of mine was saying that she used Uber for the first time and they rate their customers.
I think they've just changed that and they do rate their customers now.
Yeah. So apparently you rate the driver or the experience and they rate you as a customer. So
I wonder if it's the same as Airbnb, because Airbnb, I rate where I stayed, mm-hmm. but my host can't read that rating unless they rate me.
Ah, there you go. We might need to have a look. I don't know.
So, again, it's pretty cool. It shows the power of word of mouth and testimonials and all that sort of stuff. So I think it's a really interesting concept when we're talking about acknowledging the performance of people and how trustworthy they are as a customer as well as how trustworthy they are as a business.
Yeah. Imagine, Tribe, if there was like a worldwide register or a list of members whose dues or direct debits were unsuccessfully collected, or a list for all of the people that constantly dropped or didn't put away their weights. What do you reckon?
I love it. I can see that happening.
Yeah?
I can definitely see
that can happen?
I reckon there'll be a register one day of delinquent payers of gym memberships.
A global list.
Yeah, a global list. You'll be black banned from joining gyms.
I like it. Oh, they are very, very cool, JT. Thank you for those. I can definitely see the relevance for our FBP tribe. Up next is Adrian Antigua from Gainesville Health and Fitness. And I chatted to Adrian about how they sell paid small group training class into existing members.
So, as I was saying earlier, we really try to differentiate the small group programs that we offer, CrossFit, Tribe, Pilates specifically, even personal training for that matter, differentiate those from the rest of the group exercise offerings that we do have. And so some of the ways we do that is, first, with the small groups, is limiting the size of the class. In a group exercise class, you can have anywhere from 10 to even 150 people going to a class, depending on the program in itself and the popularity of the program. And so limiting the size of the classes allows to have that sense of that one-on-one attention. The next thing that we also do is also make sure that everybody understands that they're going to be trained with a personal trainer, that they're going to be training with somebody who is certified. Not to say that our group exercise instructors are not certified, but it's just that next level of certification, of knowledge that they know that they're going to be getting, as well as the attention that they're going to be getting in their programs. And so I would say that that's the biggest thing, the two biggest things, and the third biggest being, again, creating that specific space, creating that boutique within your club, and letting them understand that that would be their own space. A group exercise room is used for hundreds of different classes throughout the week. And so having that one space that is just for them, again, makes it special for that individual.
So how long then did it actually take to create traction and to create impact with this changeover to the small group training?
Sure. So I would say with Tribe specifically, when we launched Tribe, it probably took, we did a lot of build up for it, first of all. I mean, a lot of advertising for it to make sure that all the staff also knew about it, as well as our members and our guests and things of that nature. So we did a ramp up. We did several trial weeks just to make sure people got to experience it a little bit. But I'd ultimately say it took about 3 to 6 months to really get people to see what was being done, and for also people to get the results, what they were looking for, so that way they could share that information too. Because results are going to be the biggest key factor for those referrals moving forward. And so that's where that 3 to 6 month period really starts to work in as far as the exponential growth of the program.
And how about when you initially made those changes to like the Pilates and having the dedicated areas for each of those specialties? How long did that kind of take to gain traction?
I would probably say about the same.
Yeah.
Again, it's at first with those programs, it's really just figuring out, well, before you even get the programs, you figure out there's the market for it. And you also figure out what the dynamics of what those people are looking for. And so we made sure that there was going to be the market for it. So it wasn't kind of just shooting the bull and just let's see if we can figure it out from there. So I'd probably say that 3 to 6 month mark would probably be applicable to those other two programs too.
Tribe, if you want to know more about introducing SGT into your club, then make sure you go on and tune in to the full interview with Adrian, which you can find on fitnessbusinesspodcast.com. Okay, last but not least is Jeb Blount. Now, Jeb appeared in both shows 51 and 52. And as I mentioned earlier, in this excerpt from show 51, he shares with us the 5 most important questions to ask in sales.
But people don't typically buy from people they don't like or they don't trust. So along the way, there's 5 questions. And these are the 5 most important questions in sales. Your prospect, and by the way, your customers are asking these same questions when they decide whether they re-up with you. But these 5 questions are, do I like you? So they're asking that question of you. Do you listen to me? Very, very important. Do you make me feel important? Our most insatiable human need. In fact, the singularity of all human behavior in the first world is based on, do I feel significant or important? And most of our behaviors, good and bad, stem from that. Do you get me? And, this is important. They're asking, do you understand me? Do you understand things from my perspective? You can only get there if you listen and if you understand people, you make them feel important. And do I trust and believe you? Your prospect says, do I like you? Do you listen to me? Do you make me feel important? Do you get me? And do I trust and believe you? And when do you answer those 5 questions during your sales process, your tour, or however you take people through, your facility? When you answer those questions in the affirmative, it becomes almost impossible for them not to do business with you. And all of that's predicated first on the things that we're talking about, understanding that it's just a conversation and you're pulling people through, and you have to be able to present the compelling reason for them to make that change in their life today, using their language, using their situation, using your understanding of where they are, and using that to present it, not your words, because people don't buy for your reasons, they buy for their reasons.
Up next, I asked Jeb to share his top 3 tips for selling services.
Well, I think that what I would say to a personal trainer or anyone else is, I don't think you're selling gym memberships. You're selling dreams. I mean, you're selling the future. It isn't intangible, but you're selling an emotion. That's why people do that. Working out. I just got out of the gym. Working out's awful. If I could wake up every day and not have to do that, I just got off a bike, and I'm just thinking, when can this be over? So there are a million things I'd rather do than that. So it's the dream. And my tip to you, my inspiration to you is find out for every customer, every person that you work with, what is their vision for themselves? What do they want? Some people, they want a gorgeous body. Some people, they're worried about, not being able to stay alive. Some people are worried about, like I'll give you my core worry. My biggest fear with fitness is I don't want to be old and not be able to enjoy my life. I mean, that's a really important thing to me. And one of my greatest inspirations, Gary Player is way older than me. I mean, he's twice my age. But I look at this 80-year-old man who operates like a 20-year-old person. That's what my vision is. If you knew that, if you were a personal trainer or you were a fitness center owner and you understood what I believed about my life and what was important to me, and all you talked about was that, you would own me. I would do anything. If you were a personal trainer and you focused all your time on motion and wellness and making sure that that in my mind you kept telling me, hey, this is going to make you look great when you're 80. It's a crazy thing, but that's what's important to me.
Yeah.
So the thing is these are my tips. And I know you asked me for 3, but my biggest tip is I guess number 1 would be shut up. Number 2 would be listen. And for the personal trainers, number 3 is ask for what you want. You're never going to get more customers if you've done all the right things without asking. And then my piece of inspiration for you is this. As you look at your business, whether you're a personal trainer or a gym owner, you have to set goals for yourself. You spend a lot of time working with other people, and you give a ton of yourself to other people. And in fact, every time you're working with a client, believe it or not, it takes a little piece out of you. And so nobody's going to put that back. They've got a personal trainer to inspire them. You've got to take time to do that for yourself. So you have to set goals for yourself. You have to take time to listen to great podcasts like this to re-inspire yourself. You should be reading on a regular basis. You should be taking time, both, mind, and I know you focus on your body because you're in the industry, but also your spirit. You've got to take time to build that, because at the end of the day, there's going to be adversity. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be days like me when your website goes down for 2 weeks and you don't know if you're going to survive. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. And, there's one question that you have to ask when you're in those dips. And that question is, how bad do you want it? And if you don't have the strength of spirit, the strength of mind, and the strength of body when you're in those dips, it's very, 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 very difficult to pull yourself up, to look up, to keep going, to climb that mountain again, and then reach for the next peak. So I think you have to look at the world, from both, how am I interacting with other people? And then how am I building my own soul, my own heart, my own brand, so that I do a better job at at connecting with people and helping them and bringing them along, and so that I can exercise the things that I'm passionate about.
The Fitness Business Podcast is very appreciative of our podcast partners. Here's a quick word from one of our partners.
Rex Roundtables is a powerful forum in Europe, the US, and Australia for club owners and personal training business owners. In Australia, Justin Tamsett from Active Management runs the Rex Roundtables under the brand Industry Leaders Roundtable. In the show notes for today's episode, you'll find a YouTube link for you to watch and hear more about the roundtables. This 90-second video is a great explanation, so don't forget to check it out in today's show notes.
It's time for the Fitness Business Podcast wrap.
Here are my top takeaways from this week's show. JT from Show 48 said that consumers now want to support brands that are kind to their staff, which means making meaningful, positive changes to your internal culture and then telling the world about it. Mike Arce said to us that with Facebook advertising, start with an offer that you know has worked well for you in the past, and giving something away for free generally works better than charging for it. Adrian Antigua said consider having a dedicated space in your club for small group training. And the best small group training instructors are those who have a passion for it. And of course, it helps if they can multitask. Last of all, from Show 51, Jeb reminded us that people don't buy for your reasons, they buy for their reasons. And that the need to feel important or significant is the most insatiable human need. You can't make someone feel too important, too needed, or too wanted. To celebrate our first birthday, our friends at Active Management are giving everyone a free business resource download valued at $100. To get your gift, go to fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active. You can choose from one of 4 resources. Don't miss out. Jump on today. That's fitnessbusinesspodcast.com/active. Tribe, next week we are joined by JT from Active Management with a show that I like to think of as a good handful of licorice all sorts, because we talk about marathons, Snapchat, email marketing, and role play. So there is lots and lots of good stuff on the way. Tribe, thanks for joining me for another week of the Fitness Business Podcast. And remember, what you leave behind is not what's engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others.
Great show this week that you should be suffering DOMs, delayed onset mind soreness, as you are overloaded, and that's when your mind is strengthened. You and your business have been strengthened thanks to the amazing support of our premier sponsor, Active Management. Check out www.activemgmt.com.au only if you want to strengthen your business and your leadership. Don't forget, all today's links and notes are found at www.fitnessbusinesspodcast.com, where you can also subscribe and never miss a show and maybe win a prize. Next week is another incredible guest with Chantal, so get ready for more Fit Bizpiration.